So our topic this week is the chat functionality through Wildix collaboration. So we're going to go ahead and log into our collaboration. Looks like we're already logged in. Excellent. Okay, so real quick before we jump into the chat functionality. So in order to utilize chat, there are a few requirements. Most of our end users meet these requirements, but so everybody's aware, there is the limitation with the basic license. There is no access to collaboration and or the mobile app. The other thing that is required is the download of extensions. So when you originally log into collaboration from your browser, you'll be prompted to download some extensions. You can find those in the settings on the left hand side. You'll see the extensions here: browser extension, integration service, and the Tappy driver. Um, those are required for some of the functionality in the chat section, which we'll go over. And the last thing that you want to do is to make sure that your sounds are enabled for the website. So when you log in, again, it usually will prompt you upon the initial login to collaboration. Otherwise, you can go ahead in Chrome and click this little padlock at the top left of the URL, and you'll see your options here. And you can tell currently I have pop-ups and sound notifications enabled. Um, if you needed to access that, you could do so at the Chrome settings. And if you have questions or need some help with that, certainly reach out to our team and we'll be able to assist you. Once that is done, the first thing you need to do is to either be the recipient of a chat or start a chat. And we're going to talk about initiating chat as the first person from this side. Now, when you log into collaboration, you'll default to your colleague view. From the colleague view, we can see everybody who is available, unavailable, logged in, logged out, anybody who is on the phone, those sorts of things. And we'll be able to, at that point, choose whether or not we want to engage them either via phone call or perhaps via chat if that's more advantageous. So from the colleague view, we can simply hover over our colleague and we'll be presented with the chat icon. We can click this and it will bring us directly to the chat view and we'll be able to start a conversation with Adele here. The other option for generating chat would be from the search or dial a number. Now, again, in our colleague view, we've got 10 or 15 users here. If we had a large number of users, the colleague view wasn't a quick and easy way to find somebody. We could certainly just search for their name, for example. And then again, once we hover over, we've got the option to chat directly from the search or dial a number field. Another way we can initiate chat would be from our function keys. Now, again, anywhere we see these icons and status indicators, in this case, Adele's offline, but we can see Ben is on the phone. We've got a couple of people that are available here. Anywhere we see these the icons and status indicators, we can connect with our colleagues here. So going over to the function keys, again, we do have the same icons and indicators. And similar to the colleague view, we are presented with the option to chat directly from hovering. So from the colleagues view, we'll go ahead and hover over one of our colleagues here. And Ben's on the phone, but I got a question for him. So I'm going to go ahead and chat him. And I can just go ahead and click that icon. And you can see I'm redirected to the chat view. And the selected conversation is the one with Ben. So now I can go ahead and enter my chat at the bottom here. Send that over to him. He's going to see that notification on his side and be able to get back to me, which he has done. So that's great. The great thing about chat is it's another form of communication that we can utilize for, in this example, when somebody's on the phone and we have a question for them. Alternatively, if somebody's on the phone and they have a question for us, they don't want to break their conversation or put whoever they're on the phone with on hold to simply ask us a question that we can chat back to them with the answer. So the functionality is kind of there, and a lot of the communications these days, internally and externally, are revolving around these nonverbal methods of communication, and this is just another advantage of that. So Now that we have a chat conversation going, there's a couple different places where we can see different chat functionalities, and we're just going to go over those kind of in two pieces here. One uh, piece is this top section where we have a couple icons to the top right here, and then we have this bottom section just to the right of our dialog box at the bottom. So starting with the top, you can see by these icons, I have the option to call, right? So if I hover over that, it does also give me the indicator. From this top section, I can go ahead and call this individual, um, and that would just create an internal call as if I were intercomming them, or if I were to call them from our colleague view over here. Again, just hover over and click the handset. Same functionality, just dials the extension number. The second option we have is for a video call. This can be incredibly helpful if you have somebody who is out in the field, if they've got their mobile app on them, or if you just want to do a video call with somebody who is in another location or just down the hall from you. Sometimes this is more effective than having a face-to-face or getting up from your desk. This is a great way to communicate as well. Again, going beyond that, just a phone call or just a chat to really give a personal connection. You can also, from the video phone call, go into something like a screen share. If you guys were collaborating on something, make sense for you to sit down at your desk and be in front of whatever you're working on digitally versus having a face-to-face meeting, having to print something out, that sort of thing. So the video functionality is also another advantage there. And then we have these three dots on the right hand side. So just to make the point, when you are on an active call, for example, Ben here, who has an active call, if you were to log in and look at his screen and see my chat from his browser, the call tab would actually be blocking this access to this menu here. You can see the three dots, but once you open it, this section here, the video conference and screen sharing options, are actually hidden behind the call tab. So if you are an active call, you want to make sure you slide that call just to the side, which you can do with the little gray handset icon. That way you can access these if you need to. But as we can see with this more menu, we have the option to do a video conference and a screen share. So video conference is different from a video call in that it'll actually generate a conference in which you can record, and the screen sharing will be recorded at that point as well. You can invite other participants into the conference as opposed to just a person-to-person video call. Okay, and then screen sharing application. So this is the component that requires those extensions to be downloaded that I mentioned in the beginning. So you do need to install the integration service and the TAPI driver to utilize the screen sharing component. And simply clicking on this screen sharing component will allow me to generate that screen share with Ben, provided he's available to receive that. And it opens it on his end. So there's an acceptance that he needs to grant on his side in order to see that screen share. Across the bottom, now we've got some functionality here. You already saw I was able to go ahead and chat, directly just using the chat box, right? We also have the option to include emojis, which is really helpful because everybody needs some clarity sometimes. Giving an emoji will give us the context, all the fun stuff we get to do. But also, if I give them thanks with a happy face, that's better than thanks with an angry face. Those kinds of things just to help communicate a little bit more clearly when you're not having the verbal communication. We'll also see across the bottom here, we can choose to send an SMS message. Not every system has this functionality built in, but if you do have the functionality, clicking that will open up the Wildix SMS interface. You can go ahead and put in a mobile number, and now Ben doesn't have his mobile number put in here, so I would have to enter that manually. For colleagues that do have a mobile number associated, that would autofill. We can also add multiple numbers from here. Right? Just put a space in, right? We can keep adding multiple numbers and send a group message that way. We do have the little header that shows up, and when you send messages from the Wildix interface, there is a header that is built in on the back end that you will see as well. If you're going to use SMS and you're not familiar with it, I highly recommend sending yourself a message to see what that looks like and to understand the functionality before trying to utilize it, especially in a customer-facing or client-facing situation. The next option we have is to create a post-it. So creating a post-it will actually allow me to send a message to Ben, and it'll pop up on the front of his collaboration window. So this is something of a reminder, right? And I can leave it as normal here, or mark it as important. I need him to call me, so I'm going to go ahead and mark it as important and hit send. Now Ben will see that actually as a post-it on his side in front of his collaboration screen, and I can kind of emulate that just for the sake of the demonstration. You could probably see the personal reminder. So if I choose this as a personal reminder, this is actually going to show up in my side, and this is just to demonstrate what a post-it looks like. Right? And again, I have the option of normal or important. Post it. I'm going to mark it as important. Go ahead and send. So this is similar to what Ben will have seen on his side. All right, it's post it. It's movable. You can set anywhere you'd like, but it remains there until I choose to hit this X button. Okay, so that's a good way of indicating a matter of importance or just a reminder again for yourself or for one of your colleagues. Third option here we have is dictation. Now, the nice thing about utilizing the chat and utilizing dictation, we can just utilize this functionality totally hands-free with my microphone, and my microphone is currently in use for the webinar, so I'm not going to be able to demonstrate that functionality, but simply we would click this icon, it would turn red indicating that it's receiving the audio, and it would transcribe that audio to text. In my chat field, it doesn't automatically send it, so you do need to deselect the transcription and then go ahead and hit enter on that option. So not totally hands-free, but in many cases a much more efficient way of filling that message space, especially if you've got a lot to type or you like to ramble and it's just something in your head you got to get out. Great way to do that. The one point to make there is that is based on license, so the transcription does require a premium license in order for that functionality to work. Next option we have is the file attachment. This is very similar to, file transfer rather, because it's real time and it's in the chat. Now this is similar to the way you'd attach a file or upload a file to any sort of application on the web. When I click this icon, what's going to happen is going to launch my File Explorer. One of the things that's also nice is if my File Explorer is already open, I can actually just drag a document or a file and drop it right here into the chat, and it will automatically send that transfer. So just for the sake of the demonstration here, if I were to pull this up, go ahead and take our logo here, select that and hit open, right? Just like attaching a file in an email. And that's going to go ahead and send that over to him. So he'll be able to see this on the mobile app as well as in the browser at the collaboration level. And I can go ahead and demonstrate the other functionality here as well with the File Explorer. So if I have my File Explorer open, just drag and drop, and it's going to do the same thing. So very, very simple to transfer files. This is really helpful if you do have something that you need somebody to review, or you have a form somebody needs to sign, something like that. A lot more efficient way to get that to them without having it get lost in their email inbox. And again, they can do what they need to do, review the document, and send it right back to you just the same way. And as we already discussed, the emojis, okay, so we've got those, lots and lots of those standard ones. And those you can go ahead and send at any time. So the next thing that we'll want to discuss beyond the individual chat, we also have the option to do a group chat. When you want to generate a group chat, the way you do this would be from the top ribbon, just to the left of the conference icon, there's a plus icon to add, and we're going to click that and choose group chat. Now this is going to open up a dialog box. We can enter a chat title for the chat. Okay, I've been notified that my screen is no longer sharing. Let's go ahead and fix that. Okay. I think we're good now. All right, let's start this over for the group chat. Thanks everybody for pestering me about that. So to generate the group chat, we'll go up to the top ribbon and choose the plus icon just next to the conference icon, and we'll choose group chat. That's going to open up a box for us to put in a title. Then just below that, we can start adding our contacts. So let's go ahead, pick some people to add. I'm going to add Mr. Stiller and keep Ben C out of this one because he's unavailable. Let's go ahead. Rock and maybe Courtney. So now that we've got our people added, we can just go ahead and hit this check mark, and it's going to generate the group chat for us. Group chats are able to be modified after the fact. So now that we've generated it, we can actually change the title if we wanted to by going double clicking on the participants section here. So underneath the title where it says 5 participants, if we go and click on that, we're allowed to add or remove members. We can also revise the title if we wanted to for future use. Okay. Now people are paying attention. Maybe they'll get back to me. So one of the really cool things about the group chat is it also includes the ability to see who has received the message and seen it. So right here you can tell that, or maybe you can't tell. The icon might be a little bit small, but you can see that Courtney has actually seen this message. So as the other members of the chat view the message, their icons will pop up under here as well, so you can see who has seen it, who hasn't. Um, and that's very helpful. The group chats do migrate over to the mobile app as well, so you can see them. If you're part of a group chat, you'll be able to see those on the mobile app and participate from there. That also includes the notification of who's seen the messages. There is talks of including the functionality to modify this icon here. Currently, it's not something that is customizable, but that functionality, when added, will create a very easy way to identify chats, especially if you've got multiple group chats. If you're working with multiple teams across your company, having the icons there will be a lot simpler way to view those, and just as a visual cue for which chat you're going to go for. So we've talked about group chat. We've talked about our basic chat, individual to individual. Next, I'm going to talk about the section here on the left, the conversation list. Okay, so as this fills up, if you've got many colleagues that you're chatting with or many group chats, you'll see this list start to fill up. There's functionality from here as well, and again, we're seeing the icons and the status indicator. So that means we have our options to connect with our colleagues there. So from the 3 dots here on the right, if I were to click on this one for Ben, I can call him. I've got his work number, send him a post-it. I can go ahead and shoot him an email. All these different things just from this section. We'll see new chats will pop up at the top of the list, and they will show that way as they're the most recent conversations, and anything that's unread will show up with this yellow bar across it. Now as I'm hovering, that disappears, but at a glance we can see that yellow bar. The other thing that's nice is when we're not in this view, if we're not logged in and viewing collaboration, we will see a Windows notification that pops up from Chrome, and if we happen to be in collaboration but not on the chat view, we'll see the indications of how many missed or unread messages we have at the top of the chat icon here. So you can see I have one unread message. If I can go ahead and click on that, and it's going to show me the yellow is indicating it's from Steve, the fact that he's also at the top of the list. So I can go ahead and click on that. Now, as I mentioned, this may become overcrowded at times. There is a way to remove these conversations from this view. If I were to hover over these 3 dots again, where I can contact my colleagues, I'm actually able to remove the chat here. So if I just hit this remove option, it's going to clear that conversation from this view. The chat history is another point worth discussing. It is archived, so if I were to go ahead and let's demonstrate this with Ben here. Okay, so I've got my conversation going. I can see the files I've transferred. If I were to go ahead and remove this, right, I've got my chat or my conversation view is cleaned up over here, but I'm going to go ahead and chat Ben again. And when I do that, it's going to pull back all that history. So at this point, I've not deleted any of the history. There is a way to set up auto deletion based on a 30-day period. That's done at the back end of the system. So it's something that is done in the programming. We can certainly set that up, but it's not set up by default. So as long as your system has memory to store the chat history, and typically we don't run into issues with memory or storage space, the archived chat history will be there. Again, we can initiate, excuse me, we are able to set that up per request. There is also coming in the future, the near future, the ability to manage chat history at an individual level. So, for example, instead of just seeing a remove option, I would see a delete option here or something like that, where you can delete the chat history completely for either specific conversations or entirely for a user. It's unclear whether or not that will be at the user level in this interface or if that will also be managed on the back end, but the functionality is there, which is very beneficial, specifically as extensions get reassigned to different users, or if somebody ends up leaving or positions change, then you can delete old history and have a clean slate and conversation for the next individual to take that extension. So there are a couple things that we did not cover specifically relating to the mobile app, as well as what's called Wildix Kite, which is an external chat feature. So all the things I've demonstrated currently are within the PBX, colleague to colleague, people that are logged in and have Wildix collaboration access. The Kite functionality with external chat is something that can be programmed off of a website or a link that you might put in your email signature. Any of you who have seen emails from us or our team, we all have a link in our email signature that you can access that way. And you can also see on our website, there are Kite links there. They're not labeled as Kite, but the contact us, chat now links, they all come back to this interface. And again, also on the mobile app. So a really cool functionality. We'll be doing a webinar on that in the future about some of the functionality with the Wildix Kite product, as well as the mobile app. There's a little bit of a nuance to the mobile app and some of the chat functionality and features there. We will have a separate session on the mobile app as well. So that concludes our kind of demonstration for today and our tip for the week. If there are any questions, we'll be happy to take those currently. So we'll just take a quick look here, see if we have any questions, and answer those. If you do have questions, there's a section on the left-hand side of the webinar, a chat and question section. You can go ahead and send messages there if you'd like. I don't see any currently. If you do have questions or something comes up as you're utilizing the chat functionality, certainly reach out to us or our team. Shoot us an email, send us a text, or hit us off of our Kite links in our signatures there, or go to our website and you'll be able to see those as well. But we're very glad that you guys were able to join us, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a great week.